So that was awesome. Welcome to the show, James.
Hello. Hi, everybody.
So happy to have you here. They mentioned on this news thing that everybody deserves a second chance. But they said you wrote that one of the dogs had attacked someone 16 times. Okay.
Yeah.
That stood out to me. The Great Dane that had attacked 16 times. Do you feel like a dog like that has a chance to go back into the world? And is it risky to do that? It seems like a big risk.
Well, that dog that you see in the video, the Harlequin, that's Tonka, and I renamed him to Walter. He's 183 pounds, 3 feet 2 inches at the shoulder. So he's a giant dog, as you can tell.
Yeah.
For me, because my skill set is quite specific, I can integrate him. He's been put into, dog parks, and people are petting him downtown, walking through Stanley Park, which is this beautiful park in Vancouver. Mm-hmm. They can be integrated, and it's about addressing how the dog is feeling. And it's not about being alpha, and it's not about being dominant. It's about being a parent, because dogs are all running along the same psychological structure. So for what I do, it's really quite specific, but I can do that. And I have a 100% success rate, literally.
Wow. So you have a 100% success rate?
Yes.
So none of these dogs, after being in your care, has killed anyone or anything?
No. Even really? Nero, the older dog that you see at the end there with the gray muzzle and all stuff, who was 140 pounds when he passed away. He was 10 years, 4 months when I got him, intact. He had spent 7 years caged for breeding, and then another 3 years outside on a prong collar in Alabama. And then they dumped him at the shelter. And so what he had done as well was he dragged a woman about 250 pounds off the foster's couch in Alabama onto the floor and attempted to kill her as well. And Nero one time actually grabbed me by the top of the head. His jaws actually got both sides of my temple at the same time. He nipped them lightly, and then he let go of me. So, wow. And then he's out and he can't be around children, so to speak, and all that stuff. And again, off leash in dog parks as well.
And what do you think of these dogs that have killed other dogs or have killed, young children? I mean, I hate even saying that, but it happens, and it's seeming to be happening more frequently recently. I don't know why that is, but I just read about it so much. Those dogs, what should be done with those dogs?
Well, unfortunately, right now, the level of skill that's out there is not able to address dogs like that. So the academia that's out there, the behaviorists, Ian Dunbar, James Crosby, all these people who are academics are saying dogs like that can't be down-trained and stabilized. So what happens is the rest of the industry goes, well, I guess it can't happen. Literally, they say, well, then that dog has to be killed. Like a bite level 6 dog is a dog that has killed somebody or another animal. They say that dog can't be addressed. And what they're missing is a psychological dysfunction that's occurring. So definitely, if the world were to understand how to address dogs at a functional level, then we can put them all back into society. But the problem is you got trainers and behaviorists out there, PhDs that have reputations. So they got to protect their reputation. So what they do is, because they're scared to deal with a dangerous dog, then they blame the dog. Like, if, for example, if I say, and I do say, I'm the only trainer in the world that can down-train extremely dangerous dogs without treats or medication, my personal preference being dogs over 150 pounds. If you hire me and I meet your dog and I say, well, your dog's too dangerous, I can't deal with it. The first thing you're going to say is, well, I just hired the best guy in the world, best trainer in the world, and he said my dog is too dangerous. So then I saved my reputation by saying that your dog is too dangerous. So I blame your dog for my inability to, down-train and stabilize.
Okay, so are there specific breeds that you feel are too dangerous to be around young children?
It depends on what the structure of the dog is themselves. The psychology is all going to be quite similar to, behavior all across. So it's the dog, it's the home, it's the family, right? It is that part where we have to parent our dogs so that they feel safe.
Okay.
If the dog is feeling safe, just like a human being, if the dog is feeling safe, then they're not going to want to attack. If they're not feeling threatened, they're not feeling, in that sense of not feeling as if they belong in a family, that they're not protected by their parents, the first thing they're going to do is attack. So, for example, if a burglar broke into your home and your dog is barking at the burglar, you'll see often where the burglar who's really dog savvy will start becoming friends with the dog. Mm-hmm. And then the dog starts bringing him toys and the TV and all that stuff to steal and everything because the dog feels safe.
Okay.
The only reason you're going to try to defend yourself or attack is because you want to protect yourself or you feel scared.
Okay. And then what about the people that have like 7 dogs, like aggressive dogs, and then they get
5 right here.
Okay, but they get out. I read about this all the time, that they get out. They have tons of aggressive dogs. They get out of their the fenced-in yard or whatever, and then they kill someone. What then? Okay, I mean, it's so infuriating when I hear this. When I hear that happening, to me, that is like, it's so irresponsible. Why is this? Should there be a law, like stronger laws against people having that many dogs? That type of dog? Should you have to go through a process to be accepted? I mean, does the person need to be like you to have an aggressive dog? It shouldn't be any other kind of person, right?
Well, I'm teaching parents, right? I do by video and I do private sessions. So I teach parents how to address the issues with their own dog, regardless if their dog has killed someone. Well, I mean, obviously there's a criminal aspect of it, but they've killed another dog, etc. I teach them how to address it and how to down train their dog in simplicity. So it comes down to the responsibility of the dog parent. So, like in what I deal with just, unfortunately, hundreds of dangerous dogs, in my case, less than 5% are actually pit bulls, and pit bulls are always getting a really horrible reputation. But 5 out of 100 dogs, the rest are, Great Danes.
Oh, is it mostly Great Danes that are having this danger?
Well, Great Danes being so big, people are going to be scared because you're dealing with a dog that's as big as a cougar.
Okay.
David right here in the back here is 200 pounds. He's 3 feet 2 inches at the shoulders as well. So if you get a nip from a dog like that, your skin gets ripped right open. So the first thing people do is they panic and they go, "Oh, the dog's too dangerous." But I'm dealing with Labradors, English Bulldogs, little Aussies, all types of dogs, little small, little 5-10 pound dogs like Chihuahuas are really the
well, no, but I always hear that, James. I always hear Chihuahuas are the worst, but Chihuahuas can't really kill you, right?
Exactly.
So the type of dog that I think people need to fear are, if you see any dog that's like, bigger than you or a large dog, you should not go near that dog at all because that dog can kill you. They're animals.
But it only happens because of the failure on the human.
Okay, but are we relying on humans? Like, I don't trust humans for anything. So are we trusting humans to know how dangerous their dog is? I see people with aggressive dogs that aren't using a leash. Like that, it should be illegal. Like, I feel like that should be very illegal.
Well, there are laws like that in a lot of places where they have it. You have to be having your dog on leash. So it's up to the politicians. It's up to academia to say, this is how you're supposed to train dogs. The entire industry is so dysfunctional. Nothing is related. You see a couple of very popular dog trainers on TV who, when I watch what they're doing, it's like watching a child on a tricycle with a front wheel missing. They have no idea what they're talking about. The one in the UK, the one in the States. They don't understand what's happening. So they're spreading around a whole bunch of misinformation, and that misinformation, because it can't be proven, that misinformation fails, and then the dog is failed because people are following incorrect information. The dog is off leash, then that is the responsibility of the human being, the parent. The parent must take care of what's happening. Just like if you're driving a car, you have visceral liability. Mm-hmm. So we can't blame the dog for the lack of parenting and supervision that the human being does. Just like if your child goes and kills somebody, you've got to be able to parent your child properly so that they understand social integration and how to understand that their own sense of self-esteem and self-confidence and ego is healthy. And that's what's really important, to create a healthy codependency for our dogs so that they are cogently thinking, not performative thinking. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So we have to,
So we're trusting people. So anybody could just adopt or buy or whatever, a pit bull or a Great Dane. Anybody could get one.
Yes.
And it's just, they just think it's cute or not. And that's what is the decision. And that is very scary to me because anybody can just get a dog that's capable of killing someone. And then that kind of person, the kind of person that would do that is the type of person that wouldn't use a leash, wouldn't have a fenced-in yard. The dog gets everywhere, and then the dog ends up hurting people, or God forbid, killing people. And it's just because it's just an idiot owner, and that's like so infuriating to me. That gives those dogs a bad name, and also those owners. But you can't control the dogs, and you can't control the owners. So it's like you're losing. Everybody's losing.
You can control the owners if you have proper enforcement. But what happens is animal control is just so very casual about just killing dogs. They call it, even when they kill a dog, they call it destroyed, or they call it behavioral euthanasia. So they're showing their ineptitude of comprehension of what's happening and how the dog is processing. But the laws have to follow through on the dog owners, the parents, and the licensing and all that stuff. And what's happening is these cities, states, provinces, countries are just taking the licensing fees and going, well, go ahead and do whatever you want. So in North America, there are over 105 million dogs living in 65 million homes. Everyone has a dog.
Yeah, everyone. Dogs are great.
So it's got to be where the privilege of having a dog, not the right to have a dog, has to happen. Because if it's a privilege, then you start going, well, I better be more cautious on how I deal with dogs, with my dog, if my dog is having negative interaction. And then they've got to bring up the comprehension level of the existing training academia and behaviorism to the point where they're at my level of comprehension. If I tweeted earlier before the show started about Gordon the disabled bulldog. He's got Danny Walker's disease, never been picked up in his entire life, 11 months, quite dangerous, quite specific. He can't move at all. A dog like that would be killed, or has already been recommended to be killed by numerous other well-known trainers and behaviorists, because they don't know what they're talking about. They don't know what to do with the dog. They don't know how to stabilize that dog. And literally in an hour and 10 minutes, I've got that dog stable. And he's being petted and held for the first time literally in his life, which is an amazing, gorgeous feeling to experience and be part of.
Yeah.
But it's because of the lack of comprehension that is out there. It is unbelievable how immature and banal the level of comprehension is out there. It's really sad. Like it hurts me every single time.
And I think it must be frustrating for you when you meet these dog owners. I don't even know how they get to you, but at that point, it's probably a bad point, a low point, right? They're desperate because they need somebody desperately to help them because their dog is like out of its mind. And so when you look at these people, are you thinking, oh my God, why does this idiot have a lethal dog?
No, because often they've gone to other trainers who have basically incorrectly trained their dog, so then the dog becomes even worse. It's like taking the wrong, it's like getting GPS directions somewhere, but the directions are all wrong, and then you end up 500 miles away in China, and you're like, what the heck is going on? If the people who are teaching you don't know what they're talking about, then it's a blind leading the blind. And then the owners are already despondent, right? The parents are despondent, they're sad, they're crying. And it's really hard in my world because 70% of the people who contact me are either going to kill their dog or have been told to kill their dog, and they're expecting me to give them a magic pill.
Yeah, but you said you have 100% success rate. Does that mean all the dogs that you trained are no longer in danger of being killed?
They're not in the danger of being killed, and they can be socially integrated. They can be walked on leash. But again, it's up to me, the person handling, right, the human, the parent, to take care of what's happening and to gauge what happens if there's a potential danger or if there's a threat or a conflict that is approaching, another dog, a car, a skateboard. It's up to me to protect and let them understand that I'm keeping them safe. That's what's important. And what's happening out there is they're doing treat training of a dog, which is totally counterinstinctual because the canine species fights to the death over food. Charles Darwin proves that. So it's like giving an angry child a new toy. It's like giving a drug addict more drugs. It makes no sense because it is just a circle that keeps going around and around because of the ineptitude and the miscomprehension of dog behavior. That's why I've got dogs that, when I work with people's dogs as well, by video, etc., I can destructure behavior quite accurately about 1/10 of a second. So I'm teaching them what to do. They're able to apply it, and then I give them free assistance afterwards. So I do it on an ethical basis. I'm not doing it for money. And you don't get
paid? So I was wondering about that. Yeah. I saw that you said you don't get paid for this, but this is your job. So how do you make a living there?
So I do private sessions. I do charge for that. It's only $230 here for a private session, Canadian, right? So the thing is, the dogs that I personally intake are always, I take them in for free. Okay. So like Tonka, the Great Dane, would have cost over $100,000 $100,000 for someone else to down train and stabilize, because he's from Southampton.
Wow.
Yeah, because there's people who's charging $30,000 a month, and they can't deal with dogs like Walter or David. David. They're all turned down by the top behaviorists and PhDs, as I mentioned earlier. All of them have turned them down. Big breed rescues and all that stuff. So the personal dogs into my home, I take, despite the risk and all that. That's important to me because it's just a human thing, But when it comes to people who hire me, I'll work with them, and I do a lot of pro bono for legitimate rescue orgs. But I'm pretty direct about what I do. I'm quite efficient, so I don't really put up with a lot of dumb stuff.
Okay, and dating wise, I mean, how do potential dates feel about you living with 7 aggressive dogs?
I've been single for a while because no woman wants to go out with a guy whose dog is bigger than them. So it's pretty tough to do so. So I had to make a choice. And my choice is to leave a legacy and, do that. And maybe, eventually one day I'll, it'll happen, and I have faith in God. So it will happen. But the reality is, I had to make a choice, and, I'm following this path, and I'm trying to see some success, and some branding and marketing coming out eventually.
Yeah. Once you have like a TV show or something like that, there's going to be a lot of dog lovers contacting you. Trust me. Okay. So let me think about this. Okay. So you can't date. Maybe you could go to the woman's house. Like, she's not coming to your house. There's no way.
That's happened. Yeah. But I'm not into the casual thing. So I am looking for long term. I mean, I'm looking for just one more person. That's it in my life. So there'll be accommodations, and I have, but then sometimes the women try to have me save them, and it's not something I'm really into. I want someone who's intelligent, and often they're quite afraid of the dogs to begin with, and it's
well,
really.
I mean, it's rightfully so, right? I mean.
Yeah. It's hard to get over it. So I made the choice, and one day when I get my show going, eventually. I'm going to have the disingenuous people out there who want to date me, and that's going to really hurt me because I'm going to get so I don't know. But yeah, I'm trying to help dogs, and that's what's really important right now in my life. Yeah.
Well, I noticed a place where you are very popular is the Kermit and Friends Discord. And you are so popular in that fan club that actually a man, not even a woman, a man from that fan club called you how many times?
Oh, 4 times.
4 times.
Yeah.
Okay, so I received an email from you, my experience with Mark Connors, somebody from the Kermit fan club. Okay, after watching Kermit and Friends podcast, I heard the show's guest talk about Mark Connors. I guess he called you 4 times. Okay, and when he called you, why did he call you? Because you hadn't even been on Kermit and Friends yet. So why do you think he reached out to you multiple times?
I think just due to his history, and hopefully he's going to come on the show. I've affectionately renamed him Psycho Mark because he has some criminal history that is really quite reprehensible. I think the reason he contacted me is because he felt threatened, which is what usually happens with bullies. And so obviously he thought he could either intimidate me or to charm me into his ways. And I understand he's bisexual. So it's just something that I'm not really, interested in having someone who has a really questionable history to contact me.
But you hadn't even been on Kermit and Friends. You were just like in the chat. So how did he get your number? Like, how did he even get a hold of you? I don't understand that.
I left it up there. I left it up on the thing, right? Well, I have a, it's a number. It's a 310 number, so it forwards to me and all that stuff up here in Canada. I left it up there because I'm not a kind of person who just allows social injustice to occur. I've grown up and I've had to learn a lot about myself and really become a more balanced person. And so when it comes to injustices, I have no problem putting myself out there and having debate with an individual. So I left it out there, and he, as usual, took the bait.
Well, I was thinking about that. I was thinking you're so good with dogs, and dealing with dogs with a horrible disposition and demeanor. Are you like that with people? You seem to be very good with people as well. So does that translate at all onto the whole people thing, or is that just dogs?
It does, because the psychology of consciousness itself is going to be scaled from a human at 100% all the way down to the animal. So it's dilutive scale in that processing. So when it deals with people, I'm unfortunately quite accurate, which means I have a very small circle of friends. Sorry, I have a very small circle of friends on purpose, because I tend to understand what's going on with them quite easily. But I try to suspend it, and I often do, and then it's tough with some humans.